All right, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from RicoScores, and we have Adam Peters locked all the way in. Apparently, reports are coming out confirming that the Washington Commanders are officially hiring General Manager Adam Peters, ex-San Francisco 49ers assistant GM, to a 5-year deal. We're locking that down. And again, hopefully, this is a guy that's running our show, running our program, becomes the president of football operations, handles everything on the football side of things for hopefully like the next 10 plus 20 plus years. That would be beautiful. So we got to do a deeper dive into this new GM, Adam Peters, how he will turn the Commanders into a Super Bowl contender sooner than you think, in everything. We're going to dive into everything that he has at his disposal to be able to turn us into Super Bowl contenders. We're going to talk about his past, and also I want to talk about some of the glowing reviews that are coming out from all over the national media about us hiring Adam Peters, and the fact that a lot of people feel like this is a home run hire, can't miss. This is one of those guys types of thing. And the fact that we're inking him in for a 5-year deal shows that we're selling him on a vision. He's selling us on a vision. We're coming together, and this is going to be at minimum a 5-year process to get us going. I don't think it's going to be a 5-year rebuild. I just think he's like, yeah, I'm here for the long term. And signing deals past 5 years is, I guess, a little bit irresponsible, if anything. And so he's just like, man, sign me for 5, and if everything goes right, sign me up for another 20. That's what I'm hoping. But before we dive into all of that, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned because I'm coming with infinite content. This is your one-stop shop for everything Commanders when it comes to draft, free agency, head coaching candidates. We're going to start to take a look at defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator candidates, all of that type of stuff, man. I'm super excited. Live streams, call-in shows for you to call in and you voice your opinion on a lot of different things like free agency, draft, potential head coaching options, all of that type of stuff. So make sure y'all stay tuned. And I'm working on a mock draft right now, an Adam Peters themed mock draft, only right after us signing him to a 5-year deal. So based off of the way he's drafted in the past and things like that, and his ability to find gems late in the draft, that's what this mock draft is going to be based on. So stay tuned for that. And let's go ahead and get to this video right here. Let's get it. All right, so Jeremy Fowler from ESPN came out and tweeted and reported new Commanders general manager Adam Peters. And doesn't that just have a good ring to it? Like, instead of saying Mark Mayhew, instead of saying Bruce Allen or as like the president or whatever we've been doing for the past few years without having a real official GM. Technically, Ron Rivera was running the show as like the kind of GM, the last say so and everything the past few years. But either way, before I go on a whole rant about the ugly past, let's focus on the bright future. New Commanders general manager Adam Peters, yes sir, but I gotta give a yes sir, is signing a 5-year deal with the franchise, likely early this week per sources. Peters will be official and expected to jump right into the coaching search immediately as soon as he signed. I'm pretty sure he already has like a short list of candidates that he really wants. We've already been seeing reports about Ben Johnson being his favorite candidate. We haven't heard that directly from his mouth. And also, I know a lot of y'all have probably been wondering, just like me, like, when is Adam Peters officially gonna like actually get in front of a mic and like talk about all of this and basically give his vision? Because I'm super excited. I'm more excited about Adam Peters' speech this upcoming season, probably within like the next 2 weeks, even more than how excited I was about Eric Bieniemy as our offensive coordinator last time. And even ignoring, hindsight's 2020, ignoring how the season went, just remembering how I felt initially when Eric Bieniemy got hired, and I couldn't wait for that press conference. I'm even slightly more excited than that for this, man. I'm super excited about hearing just what his vision is, and I don't expect him to be like the best talker, like the best motivator. I don't expect him to come with some crazy quotables or anything like that, some bars, some one-liners, but man, I can't wait to see how he words his vision. I'm super excited. So I know a lot of y'all are probably waiting on that, just like I am. That will probably happen as soon as we officially have them signed, like pen to paper, ink dry, all of that type of stuff. And maybe we have to wait until the 49ers are no longer contending for a Super Bowl until that can officially happen. I don't know. But then again, Adam Peters' job as a GM is already done. There's nothing he can do in the playoffs right now unless there's just a random free agent, a waiver wire guy out there just available for some crazy reason. I don't even know how those rules exactly work. So I think his hands are pretty much free of anything the 49ers got going on. They're probably already like, man, you can go ahead. We'll take it from here. Thank you for building this ridiculous roster for us, especially when it comes to late round draft picks, because I've been hearing left and right. Shouts out to my boys over there at the Burgundy Zone. Make sure you follow them on Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. My boy, the Podfather, all of those guys, man. They brought up a great point when I was on their show yesterday. Make sure you go check out that live stream because they talk everything. Adam Peters, potential head coaches, defensive coordinators, everything. Great deep dive. But they brought up a great point, and I've been hearing this from multiple people as well, that apparently Adam Peters was more so responsible for the later round draft picks. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch were responsible for the earlier ones. So technically they say that Adam Peters ran like rounds 4 through 7 or 3 through 7. So all of those late round draft picks like Fred Warner, George Kittle, and all of those guys, those sneaky players that they were able to somehow find these gems in day 3, that's the Adam Peters thing. Apparently trading up for Trey Lance wasn't necessarily his responsibility. But either way, this guy has pretty much done everything he could. All of these all-pros, all of these pro bowlers left and right. Thank you, Adam Peters. This is coming from the 49ers and John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, all of those guys. We'll take it from here. There's not really much an Adam Peters, a GM, could do right now for the 49ers with them already in the playoffs. So they'll probably just go ahead and let him go. He can immediately come to working for us right now and go ahead and get on this head coaching search. Like I've already said, like multiple people have reported, even just beyond me, he's going to run the show. He's the general manager for a reason. He has complete control over the football side. Eugene Shen is probably going to have some input here and there, but even Bob Myers and Rick Spielman, I'm not sure how much input they'll have on the head coaching search because their job was more so to find the right general manager. They did that. Their job is not necessarily done, but a big portion of it was accomplished once we got Adam Peters. And I believe his connection to Bob Myers going to UCLA together also maybe played a role there. Everything Josh Harris is doing is very strategic. Let's get guys familiar with this guy. That's why us getting Ben Johnson sounds quite likely, because he brought in Bob Myers to help us get Adam Peters. He may have brought in Rick Spielman, whose brother is an top executive for the Lions, to potentially help us build that bridge to get Ben Johnson as our head coach. Everything, I'm telling y'all, man, Josh Harris is playing chess, not checkers. I don't think a lot of y'all are seeing it, but either way, super excited. But again, back to my main point, Bob Myers and Rick Spielman have already done a lot of their jobs, but when it comes to building relationships with agents and how to, hire certain roles in certain ways to not even just on the field product, Bob Myers and Rick Spielman are also there to help Josh Harris advise as far as like staff for the stadium and facilities and things like that. Like that's what they're here for, along with, of course, Jason Wright's going to handle a lot of the business side, stadium stuff and things like that. But they're here to just help build the organization the right way. Once Adam Peters became the general manager, he took the keys and is pretty much the driving force for who we're going to hire as head coach. Of course, he's not doing it alone. He'll probably take a little bit of input from anybody who's involved, maybe even Martin Mayhew and Marty Herney while they're still here just for a little bit. Of course, the connection to Rick Spielman for the Lions, for Ben Johnson or whatever, or even Bob Myers, Josh Harris. I'm pretty sure they'll have somewhat of an influence, but Adam Peters is running the show when it comes to head coaching search. So to officially have him sign and pen to paper means that this coaching search immediately begins today. All of these virtual interviews we've already done have more so been something like preliminary, because I know a lot of y'all were probably questioning, and I brought it up in a video. How are we interviewing head coaches already, head coaching candidates? And Adam Peters, this was before we even announced him as our GM a couple of days ago. We were already interviewing potential head coaching candidates, and then now he's officially putting pen to paper very soon. But it's still like, man, we've already talked to Mike McDonald, we've already talked to a couple of other guys, and so it's kind of like, well, was Adam Peters a part of that? But just to let you know, a lot of those virtual interviews were already gotten out the way. Like I already said, more preliminary, more so, hey, we're interested, things like that. And then we're going to do the official interviews, especially the in-person ones. Follow the visits. As a big college football fan, Georgia Bulldog fan, we know when it comes to recruits and even coaching staff guys like my boy Travaris Robinson that we just stole from Alabama. Yes, sir, man, that's huge, big time, man. I'm hoping we get Caleb Downs because of that. Quite likely, more likely than a lot of people think. But either way, before I go on that tangent, follow the visits. That's one of the main rules when it comes to recruiting in high school. And I feel like the same thing applies to a lot of things, even at the professional level, because when it comes to who we may potentially get as a head coach, yeah, these virtual interviews are cool, but we're even virtually interviewing Dan Quinn. It's being reported that we plan on, Albert Breer just came out, and I know a lot of people are upset. I'm not even going to do an entirely separate video on this. I already put all of my thoughts into Dan Quinn as the potential head coach versus the defensive coordinator with the video I did last night while that Cowboys game was going on. That was atrocious, the way they got whooped by Green Bay. I already put all of my thoughts in there, but Albert Breer came out and said Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn will interview for the Panthers and Titans jobs on Wednesday, and then the Commanders job on Thursday, and the Chargers job on Friday, and those will all be over Zoom, so virtual. We're doing a lot of virtual stuff. We're getting them out the way. Even a guy like Dan Quinn, who I'm not even really taking seriously as a potential top candidate for us right now. But either way, you follow the visits. When we start bringing people in person, like bringing them out to, I guess, Miami, to the Josh Harris mansion, which, whatever it's worth, helped narrow down our search to Ian Cunningham and Adam Peters, arguably the two top GM candidates out there, and they were fighting each other for a chance to be our GM. And Alec Hallaby was involved as well. He even flew out to Miami. Follow the visits. These virtual interviews, cool. More preliminary, more, hey, this is what we plan to do, stuff like that. But when we start flying people to Miami, that's when things get serious. That's when you know who we're really prioritizing as a potential head coach. These preliminary interviews may be a way to weed out who they may not even want to speak to at all. Maybe it's just like a due diligence thing. Like, yeah, let's at least talk to Dan Quinn virtually, but we're not really taking them that seriously. We don't even plan on bringing them for an interview in person in Miami, like for real at all. Let's just go ahead and do our due diligence and at least talk to everybody virtually. But follow the visits, y'all. I'm telling y'all right now, follow the flights. I guess for the NFL, it's follow the flights. For high school recruiting, going to college, follow the visits. Also, Caleb Williams just now officially declared for the draft. I don't know what took him so long, but there that goes. I may do a separate video on that situation. Moving on from that, let's do a deeper dive into Adam Peters. I've already done a couple of videos talking about him and why we should be super excited about us bringing him in as a general manager, allowing him to run the show, giving him the keys and everything, breaking down what his responsibilities will probably be and what he was a part of for the 49ers. But we're going to do a deeper dive today because there's some extra information I found out later. There was some other points I thought of after the fact and things like that. So I just wanted to put out as much information on Adam Peters and opinions as I possibly can, because this is probably the most important hire in my lifetime for the Burgundy and Gold. No exaggeration. Easily. I mean, I guess Josh Harris buying the team, Adam Peters becoming our GM, and then maybe Eugene Shin somewhere involved somewhere in the top 5. But Adam Peters is my vote for the #1 most important and best hire that the Burgundy and Gold have made in my lifetime. Because again, I wasn't alive to watch any of our Super Bowls. I was born after well after we won our last Super Bowl in '91, and man, it's just so crazy that things finally feel like we're doing things the right way and we're a destination for people, man. Like I keep saying, we've typically been in a situation where, like, even if a coach or a free agent is willing to come play or work for, coach for, whatever the Burgundy and Gold, it's kind of like an inconvenience tax. Like, yeah, I guess I'll come over there, but with Dan Snyder, Bruce Allen, all of the mess y'all got going on, the bad facilities, the bad field and things like that, the losing culture recently, if I'm gonna come over there, I'm gonna charge y'all the most money possible just to make up for the fact that I'm coming to a loser franchise, basically. Now with the way that we've cleaned the whole slate, we have Adam Peters, Ian Cunningham, and Alec Hallaby fighting for the one position of general manager for us. Not the other way around. They're fighting each other to come work for us. I think head coach is going to be the same thing, and I think it's going to be a trickle-down effect to where it's even free agents doing the same thing. So I'm super excited. That's why, I mean, when you keep hearing me say I'm excited, I'm telling y'all, this is huge. Like, we're literally on track to be Super Bowl contenders. Right now, everything has been best case scenario so far, and I'm expecting that to continue well past head coaching situation, free agency, draft, all of that. I'm expecting us to have the best offseason in Burgundy and Gold history, at the very least in my lifetime. I'm super excited. But what's really interesting is when you really look at this situation, we basically traded Chase Young for Adam Peters and a conditional 3rd round pick, which is going to be that 100th pick in the 3rd round. And then we have a 102nd pick that's early in the 4th round as well. But that's really interesting, man, when you really look at it like that. Also, shouts out Nikki Javala for this tweet. Adam Peters is one of, but not the first front office executive hires by Josh Harris since he purchased the team last July. Craig Fisher was named CFO in August, and Eugene Shin was hired as Senior VP of Football Strategy in October, the analytics guy. I've already done a full 30-minute plus breakdown on Eugene Shin and why he's probably going to have more influence than a lot of y'all think, and like his whole history of turning the Ravens around, helping the Dolphins become what they are now other than these foes the last couple of weeks, and the Jaguars. All of those teams that Eugene Shin joined and had a huge impact on the analytics side, they were all #1 seeds in their respective divisions just a few weeks ago. I don't know why the Dolphins or the Jaguars folded the way that they did, but maybe that's because Eugene Shin is on the Commanders and he took the juice with him. He took the secret sauce with him. But either way, we now have Adam Peters, who was officially like the 3rd big hire. Craig Fisher, again, was named CFO in August. Eugene Shin, Senior VP of Football Strategy in October. And now Adam Peters as the GM running the whole football side of things, with Eugene Shin probably having a little bit of impact in there as well. A little bit of influence, probably more influence than y'all think, as of January 2024. But also, Albert Breer brings up a good point. But the idea of naming Peters a young exec, GM, and not president of football operations could be to create the chance to promote him again down the line if things go well. Either way, Peters will lead the football operation. Completely lead that side. I'm telling y'all right now. And again, just to reiterate, Adam Peters was a hard guy to get. First of all, he could have just stayed with the 49ers. John Lynch is getting promotion after promotion, gaining more and more power, and every time he moves up, Adam Peters, his right-hand man, was moving up with him and was gaining more and more power and influence for what the 49ers were doing. He easily could have stayed there and ran that show, basically. And he even declined interviews with the Titans and the Arizona Cardinals last year. And then he also had requested interviews from the Raiders and Chargers this offseason. But before he even got a chance to say yes or no to those, he went ahead and interviewed with us and took our job immediately. Came in for an interview last Tuesday. Came in for the second interview Thursday only because we had to interview more guys Wednesday, and then was hired and officially accepted the job on Friday. Come on, when the best GM candidate out there is moving that quickly to take over, you know you're an ideal landing spot. You know you're the hotbed for elite minds and talent. I'm telling y'all, we're that next franchise. We're about to be that next dynasty. I'm feeling very Patriot-y right now, but in a different way. But also, just to remind you, he did help win a ring in 3 different cities. 3 different places he's been. A scout with the Patriots, a very important talent evaluator and almost GM role that he had for the Denver Broncos when they won Super Bowl 50 with Peyton Manning that couldn't even throw a pass 20 yards and beat my dog Cam Newton on that 15-1 season. And then, of course, everything that the 49ers got going on. This man has a ring at 3 different places, man. Everywhere he goes, they win. Bring some of that with us, whether it's talent, whether it's genius, intelligence, foresight, talent evaluation, or even if it's just luck. Bring that luck with you, man. So far, you're hitting 100% from the field. Let's see if you can continue doing that for us. Also, man, Adam Peters did work his way up, man. His career path to executive is interesting, man. JUCO tight end, walk-on defensive end at UCLA, graduate assistant football operations at UCLA, scouting assistant in New England, pro scout in New England, area scout in New England, then regional scout in Denver, national scout in Denver, then assistant director of college scouting in Denver, director of college scouting in Denver, so he got a promotion there, and then VP of player personnel in San Francisco, assistant GM in San Francisco, and now the most power he's ever had in his career, GM for the Washington Commanders. That's why this is a win-win for everybody. But more importantly to us, job history-wise, Patriots, he was a scout there from 2003, 2008 for the early part of the Patriots dynasty when they were winning. You can argue that he was one of the best talent evaluators there and helped build that organization, because now you see what Bill Belichick is doing right now with the Patriots, and it hasn't worked out very well. That's why they've parted ways. He's potentially going to the Falcons, and I hope he drags them down as well. Broncos as a scout as well, assistant of college scouting and director of college scouting from 2009, 2016. Again, arguably one of the biggest pieces and reasons why they were able to build that ridiculous roster that carried Peyton Manning to a Super Bowl over my dog Cam Newton, who was unstoppable that season. And then the 49ers VP of player personnel and assistant GM from 2017 to 2013, with all of the All-Pros and Pro Bowls they've gotten on that roster since he's been there, especially past day 2 and day 1, those day 3 guys, rounds 3 through 7, 4 through 7, they're saying that he was the architect behind a lot of that. If anything, all of it. So, hey, man. And again, help build 3 Super Bowl champions, 3 different places, 3 different cities, 3 different teams. Come on now. Come on. And just in 21 years with the Patriots, Broncos, and 49ers, he has 3 Super Bowl wins, 6 conference championships, and 13 division titles. Just within 21 years. Stop playing with him, man. Of course, it's not like he has complete control over all of those championships, conference titles, and things like that, but he played a big role in them, and I'm excited to go ahead and just hand him the keys and let him run the show. Also, shouts out to Big Body Board on Twitter for bringing this up. Great point. My favorite thing about Adam Peters, 49ers have 8 no doubt blue chip players on their roster, and they use every kind of avenue to acquire those guys. First round picks and Nick Bosa and Brandon Ayuk. Okay. Day 2, day 3 picks again. Allegedly, Adam Peters was running that. So that's Deebo Samuel, Fred Warner, George Kittle, among a lot of other players. But then also trades, Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey. Apparently he plays a small role in that as well. And then free agency wise, Travarius Ward. So I love the fact that between Adam Peters, John Lynch, but mostly Adam Peters more than anybody else, Kyle Shanahan with some influence there as well, he's able to find talent no matter where. First round, second round, third round, all the way through the 7th, through trades and through free agency. He's able to evaluate talent and put guys in the right places to succeed and build a winning team and a winning culture, more importantly. Also, shouts out to Grant Paulson for this one. During Adam Peters' time with the 49ers, San Francisco drafted 5 All-Pros and 15 Pro Bowlers. At least, 15 Pro Bowl appearances. Over that same time, the Commanders have only drafted 1 All-Pro and had 11 Pro Bowls appearances. So Adam Peters is outdoing our entire staff since he's been with the 49ers in that same amount of period. Also, man, let's just do this dive into these day 3 hits. Because again, I'm going to repeat it again. It's being reported that Adam Peters ran day 3 for the 49ers. It was Kyle Shanahan. I think they said he ran round 1 or round 2 and 3, or John Lynch ran round 1 or 2 or 3, vice versa, whichever one. Apparently, Adam Peters ran day 3, which is rounds 4 through 7. George Kittle in the 5th, DJ Reed in the 5th, Dre Greenlaw in the 5th, DeMondre Lenore in the 5th, Talanoa Hufanga in the 5th, DJ Jones in the 6th, Juwan Jennings in the 7th, and Brock Purdy in the 7th. And if you want to give him credit for the 3rd round, you also get to throw Fred Warner and some other guys in there as well. It's ridiculous, man. And also with George Kittle, I saw a video recently where Adam Peters said that they thought that George Kittle was worth taking a chance on in the 3rd round. Saw like a video on Twitter, and maybe even sooner. But they knew that they could get him in the 5th. So that's not only just talent evaluation, they're also doing a great job, well, Adam Peters at least, does a great job of communicating with other teams. Like, you know, what's the landscape looking like? How are y'all feeling about this player? Like, are y'all willing to take this guy in the 3rd or 4th? Or is everything in the clear and we think we can maybe even wait till the 5th round to get this guy type of thing? So that's not only just player evaluation, that's connections and networking around the NFL to where you have a good feel and you know that you can trust people. People trust you and you trust them back to for them to give you accurate information and not tell you, nah, man, we're only thinking, we see George Kittle as like a 7th round pick. And then come draft day, they draft them in the 3rd round before you get a chance. Adam Peters, man, I'm telling y'all, there's so many little things to what he brings to the Commanders as to why this is going to be huge. And also, I want to point out the fact that there were only 3 unanimous choices for the 2023 NFL All-Pro team. Tyreek Hill of the Dolphins, and then the 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey and 49ers linebacker Fred Warner. Remember, 2 of those guys are from the 49ers, 1 is from the Dolphins, and then there's no other team with a unanimous All-Pro vote. That's insane, dog. That's really crazy. Also, Adam Peters was made assistant GM in 2021 and was responsible for the later round picks in San Francisco drafts. So when we're talking about this whole Trey Lance situation, that may not be on him. It may not. But honestly, even if it is, I don't really care because, first of all, GMs miss. No GM hits 100%. Joe Gibbs didn't even hit 100% when we were winning Super Bowls. So that's first and foremost. But secondly, if anything, to trade that much draft value, to trade up to get a quarterback, and that quarterback doesn't work out, and you still have a Super Bowl contender a couple of years later, if anything, it's like they handicapped themselves just to prove that they can still build a Super Bowl contender even after they throw away picks and draft value and waste their time and everything. Like, that's incredible. If anything, that's more of a positive and a compliment to what Adam Peters can do with an organization. We can miss on quarterback and still be a Super Bowl contender, and that's music to my ears. I really want to get this quarterback situation right, especially with us having a second overall pick and things like that. But that is incredible, man. We can miss on quarterback and still be as good as what the 49ers are right now is absolutely amazing. And then also, let's talk about some glowing reviews as far as Adam Peters goes. Again, I've already brought up the different articles like the NFL agent surveys, like the one done in August where they named John Lynch and Adam Peters as top 5 NFL evaluators out of everybody. Out of every talent evaluator, GM, president of football operations on all 32 NFL teams, both John Lynch and Adam Peters were in the top 5 according to NFL agents. And I've already explained in greater detail in other videos why having a healthy relationship with agents around the NFL is so vital, because these agents are literally the guys in between you and the free agents that you want, or the guys you may want to trade for and things like that. And if you have a healthy relationship with agents, man, not only does it increase your chances of getting great players, but it also increases your chances of getting players on good money rather than them taxing you ridiculous amount of money, like I've already explained before, like we used to happen with us under Dan Snyder and company, because they're like, man, if I'm gonna come to this ugly situation, you got to pay me a little bit more money just for my sanity type of situation. And then there was another NFL agent anonymous survey done January 1st of this year, and there were glowing reviews there. Agents voted Adam Peters as the league's best talent evaluators who they trust the most, which is a rare mention, especially for non-general managers. I mean, he beat out other people who were actually already general managers. He wasn't even a full-time general manager yet as the one that agents trust the most. I don't think y'all understand how much networking and healthy relationships is going to benefit this team, even beyond just talent evaluation, man. And agents were saying things like, quote, I think that if you're a team looking this year, to put it bluntly, you would be dumb to look elsewhere. I think he is the best in the business, unquote. Another quote, good, bad, or ugly, Adam Peters does it the right way. He treats people with compassion, even when it's a bad situation. He's always honest. You know where you stand. I'm surprised he has not gotten a general manager job to this point, unquote. And again, just to reiterate, he had opportunities to go elsewhere last year, declined it. He had every reason to stay with the 49ers, even beyond just this year, decided to go away with that. He had options to interview with other teams before he chose us, declined those as well. So clearly, with the guy with this much praise and this much love around the NFL, highly respected amongst his peers, NFL agents, again, very important, and national media members, all alike, man, I'm telling you. Also, Brian Stark, the Broncos director of college scouting, worked with Peters for 6 seasons in Denver, and he said this about Adam Peters getting the GM job in Washington, quote, he's about as prepared as someone can be for that role. The experiences he's had at 3 different winning organizations, he's been around a lot of really successful people in the field. I would be surprised if he didn't have a lot of success there, unquote. This is coming from a Broncos director of college scouting. And then also Maryland governor loves it as well. The Maryland governor, Wes Moore, boy, loving it. When talking about Commanders owner Josh Harris hiring Adam Peters as GM, quote, it's a great move. You've got somebody that has a history of building championships. Not surprised at all. Move fast. I like the way they do business, unquote. And that's also a compliment to Josh Harris. And then as far as just like random people, like great talent evaluator and draft analyst Jordan Reed said AP is awesome. Great choice. Washington has 5 picks inside the top 100, including the number 2 overall pick. They're also projected to have the most cap space in the league next year. Top GM job on the market, in my opinion. And basically he's just saying, man, this is the right guy. We are the best situation. He's the best GM. That marriage is about to be a pathway for huge success. Also, Robert Griffin III had his opinion. Adam Peters is a winner who saw it done at the highest levels in 3 different organizations. Excited to see him build a roster with Josh Harris and the next head coach that gives DC the winning franchise that routinely competes for championships it deserves. Thank you, RG3. Disagree with you sometimes, but that's a perfect tweet right there. Then John Com also said, and he's keeping the source anonymous, but he said he had someone in the league tell him a couple of nights ago that Adam Peters would be a grand slam hire. First step for Josh Harris, Peters will now evaluate Washington's front office and have a key role in hiring the next head coach. Let's get it. Also, B. Mitch. Brian Mitchell loves it as well. Josh Harris and his team land Adam Peters with their first major hire. A+ in my book. Let's go, Commanders. Super excited. Al Galdi, a trustworthy NFL personality and voice as well. Adam Peters is a home run hire, the kind of hire that was unthinkable under the previous owner. Josh Harris killed it with this search. I completely agree. Like I've already said in previous videos, Adam Peters doesn't even pick up the phone if Dan Snyder is still your owner. He sees that whatever area code, it could be 301, whatever. He sees that area code and immediately blocks it if Dan Snyder's the owner. So this complete 180 of not only accepting the call and considering it, but actually him wanting us as much as we want him is incredible. Also, shouts out to Lake Lewis. I think it's a slam dunk move by the Harris Group to hire Adam Peters to become the GM for the Commanders. Peters has been a part of consistent winning organizations. Now he can help put his stamp on a franchise in search of real football leadership. Thank goodness. And then you also have NFL Rumors, a very neutral site, has no attachment or bias towards for the Commanders or nothing. He said the Washington Commanders have one of the best GM hires in recent years with the 49ers assistant GM Adam Peters, arguing that not only is he the best GM hire that's going to be hired this offseason, but arguably the best in a few years span. Now, before we start to dive into some more things, of course, I know y'all saw that parody account saying that USC quarterback Caleb Williams wants assurance that the Bears will be trading the first overall pick before declaring for the draft. Williams and his camp have no interest in playing in Chicago. I didn't even do a video on this because this is a parody account, but I thought it was funny. And just to reiterate, again, Caleb Williams has officially declared for the draft. That whole thing was fake. Now, I could definitely see where he would prefer us, even if we were the same exact team, like same draft picks, same talent, same players, just a complete clone of each other. He would just pick us just because he loves DC. Remember, he posted on his Instagram story like, let's go, and was super excited when Dan Snyder was officially reportedly had to sell the team to Josh Harris, even before Josh Harris officially bought the team from him. Once it was reported that he had to sell the team, that boy Caleb Williams was super excited. So of course he would love to go back home and play in the DMV area. You have two different types of people. You have some people like Chase Young that don't want to play where they're from, and you have guys like Caleb Williams that clearly does want to. So you never know. And then also, I just feel like we have a brighter future than Chicago. I think Chicago has a very underrated future as far as how bright they can be as well. I think the Chicago Bears are potentially on the up and up as well. But there's a reason Ian Cunningham wanted to come work for us rather than stay with them, in my opinion. Now, it could be also for more power to get his chance to run his own show, but also I just think we have the brightest future right now in the NFL. Out of all 32 NFL teams, if we're talking about starting from ground zero, I think I can predict us to be one of the strongest Super Bowl contenders within the next 5 to 10 years. I truly believe that because we're doing everything the right way. And now moving on, let's talk about what this boy Adam Peters has to work with and why he more than likely chose us. Well, like I've said in multiple videos and live streams, the number 2 overall pick, 6 picks in the top 102, 9 picks overall in this 2024 NFL draft. Also, we have the most cap space in the NFL, like I've already explained, and I've already done a full 30-minute breakdown of how we can get even more and even get up to about like $120 million worth of cap space. We're like in the 80 millions right now. Also, a head coach opening, allowing him to pair up with his choice. So that's another thing too. Like, some GMs may come in and there may already be a head coach sitting here. No, Adam Peters gets to pick his head coach. That's big time. He's going to have an immediate influence on this team with all of that cap space, with all of that draft capital, and being able to handpick the head coach who's also going to play a role in handpicking the defensive coordinator, and everything under that. Tight ends coach, quarterbacks coach, linebackers coach, DBs coach, all of that. Adam Peters is going to have his hand in all of that. And then an owner that's willing to spend whatever money it takes and do whatever it takes. And he's the perfect balance of involved and wants things to go right, but also not too involved to where he's meddling like a Dan Snyder. He wants to, whatever it takes, I'll pay you. Again, like I've said, Josh Harris is so great to me already because he's not cheap. Eugene Shin has a title for us right now that most NFL teams don't even have. He's just like, man, whatever it takes to win, I'll hire and pay whatever it takes. I'll invent a new role on this team different from other NFL franchises, just if it helps us increase our chances of winning just by 1%, like Eugene Shin on the analytics side, or Tim McGrath on the injury consultant side. He's not even like our head health guy. He's literally just here for his technology and how he does a great job of implementing different techniques and technology technology to prevent injuries? And then if you do get hurt, how do we get you back as soon as possible, but the right way, not to force you back too soon? I did a whole breakdown on Tim McGrath as well for like 30 minutes and above, and how he's helped like different teams in different countries with their injury problems. And Josh Harris went and got him, gave him a title and a role and some money that most NFL teams don't do. This guy is not skipping on any of the money. If you can help the Commanders win in any way possible, Josh Harris is willing to spend that bag. And I'm pretty sure Adam Peters got paid handsomely. We'll see when those numbers come out. I'm super excited about that. Also, shouts out to Ryan Fowler for bringing this up. Great point. For decades in Washington, it was about faces and butts and seats. McNabb, Haynesworth, Jason Taylor, Atagwe, Archuleta, zero substance, and a non-existing foundation to attempt to work past relevancy. The intricate, goal-oriented approach from Josh Harris is extremely refreshing. It's not about simply trying to fill FedEx 8-9 times a year. It's about laying the groundwork for 5, 10, 15 years of collaborative, high-level player evaluation, college and pro, competitive football, and then ultimately working toward a 4th Lombardi trophy to add to the collection in Ashburn. Let's get it. Also, shouts out to Chris Russell over there at Locked On Commanders for saying this: the Commanders hired a true football executive to run the football operation, and only that, not to sell tickets, jerseys, or deal with the silly name crap, all of that stuff, not to coach, nothing but football. I love that, man. I absolutely love. We're getting guys elite at what they do, and they're doing just that. They collaborate on certain things, but we got the football got to do football things. We got the analytics got to do analytics things. The injury prevention got to do just that. We don't have one guy coming in here trying to run the entire show like Bruce Allen did, then like Ron Rivera did and stuff. We have the guy that's elite at what they do, doing just that. That's why the Patriots, in a player way, if you want to look at why the Patriots were so successful for so long, is because they didn't ask guys to do a million things. They got a guy that was elite at one or two things and asked that guy to do specifically just those things on the field, and it worked out beautifully for them. We're doing that, but basically with our front office and coaching staff, and I'm super excited. Also, now that Adam Peters is hired, shout out my boy Linnell Willingham for this tweet: the work begins. Massive franchise altering decisions to be made. First of all, what are they going to do with Sam Howell? What do they think about this QB class? We're taking quarterback. I'm just going to go and tell y'all that now. But also, will we keep Jonathan Allen or trade him? There's so many things we got to look at. Of course, with this whole front office situation, I'm pretty sure this is not the last front office hire. Pretty sure Eugene Shin wants some analytics guys under him. I'm pretty sure Adam Peters is going to have some right-hand man next to him, maybe even an assistant GM or something like that. Martin Mayhew, we got to decide his fate. Marty Herney, those guys. So, hey, man, we have a lot of work to do, but I'm super excited for them to get started. And yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please stiff arm the like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get a notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Again, your Commanders one-stop shop. Every little piece of news, even if it's just a untrustworthy rumor, we're going to talk about it. We're going to acknowledge the fact that it's an untrustworthy rumor, but we're going to go into whether we want this rumor to be a real thing, why or why not, why we wouldn't want that rumor to actually come into fruition or anything like that. We're diving into every little thing. Again, it's to the point that I need to be coming out with 2-3 videos a day. I was just so busy yesterday that I was only able to get one video done, but today we're doing like 2 to 3 again, and we're also going to continue going with those live streams and all of that. So stay tuned. I really appreciate y'all, man. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.